Have you ever walked away from a conversation wishing you had spoken your truth? Most people avoid difficult talks because they fear conflict, judgment, or rejection. But here's the twist. Avoiding the hard conversations doesn't protect your relationships, it weakens them. True respect isn't built through silence, it's earned through honesty. In this video, you'll discover how courageous conversations can elevate your confidence, strengthen your character, and inspire others to respect you more deeply. Stay until the end, because the final story might just give you the courage to have that one talk you've been avoiding. 1. Hard talks build respect. Respect doesn't grow in comfort zones. It grows in honesty. We often mistake politeness for respect, thinking that silence maintains peace, but peace built on avoidance is fragile. Stoicism teaches that integrity matters more than ease. When we speak up, especially when it's uncomfortable, we demonstrate moral courage, the willingness to face truth rather than hide from it. It is not the avoidance of friction that strengthens relationships, but the shared pursuit of what is true and fair. Respect, in its deepest form, is born from honesty tempered by empathy. In the workplace, in friendships, and even within families, we often face moments where truth feels heavy. We hesitate because we fear judgment or rejection. Yet, as Seneca wrote, it is better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. A stumble in words, if spoken with sincerity, is far better than the false security of silence. People may not always like what we say, but they will remember that we had the courage to speak our minds respectfully. Over time, such conversations become the foundation of trust, because others know we won't deceive them, even when honesty costs us comfort. Imagine Daniel, a young professional early in his career, who believed that avoiding confrontation kept the peace. He nodded along in meetings, offered agreeable comments, and quietly fixed problems others ignored. His colleagues saw him as kind and easygoing, but also as someone who could be overlooked. One day, Daniel's team faced a major setback due to an inefficient system everyone privately complained about but no one addressed. Summoning courage, Daniel requested a meeting with his boss. He respectfully explained the issue, outlining clear examples and suggesting a solution. He was nervous, his voice shook, but he spoke truthfully. His boss paused, listened, and then thanked him for his honesty. That simple act changed everything. From that moment, Daniel was no longer the agreeable employee who stayed quiet. He became the voice of integrity in the room. That story mirrors what many of us face. The fear of being disliked often stops us from being respected. True respect doesn't come from approval, it comes from authenticity. People sense when we're genuine, and even if they disagree, they value our forthrightness. Hard talks test our character, revealing whether we stand for something greater than convenience. The Stoics would remind us that our duty is not to please, but to act with virtue, to align our words with our principles. Every time we choose candor over comfort, we reinforce that alignment. Respect, like muscle, grows through tension, and the people who dare to engage in honest, respectful conversations become anchors of trust in any community. 2. Honesty creates growth. Honesty, when guided by reason and respect, becomes one of the most powerful tools for personal and collective growth. Stoicism teaches that truth is not cruelty, it's clarity. To live in alignment with reason means to speak and act according to what is real, not what is convenient. Many people confuse honesty with harshness, but they are not the same. Cruelty seeks to wound. Clarity seeks to illuminate. When we choose honesty from a place of care, we serve others by helping them see more clearly. We refine our own strength by facing reality head-on rather than hiding behind comfort or pretense. Take Marcus, a manager who once thought kindness meant sparing others from hard truths. When his team underperformed, he gave vague, encouraging feedback, hoping to avoid hurt feelings. Yet, instead of improving, the team stagnated. People felt uncertain, sensing that something was wrong but not knowing what. Marcus began reading Stoic philosophy, particularly the letters of Seneca, who wrote that a friend is one who helps another by truth, not by flattery. Inspired, Marcus decided to change. The next time he met with his team, he was direct but compassionate. He told them where improvement was needed and why it mattered. He paired every critique with guidance and encouragement. To his surprise, his team didn't resent him. They thanked him. His honesty gave them direction. Over the next months, performance improved dramatically. What changed wasn't just the process, but the trust. People now knew that Marcus's praise meant something because it was earned. His honesty elevated everyone, including himself. That is the paradox of Stoic truth. By embracing discomfort, we create real harmony. Honesty is a form of discipline. It demands we look inward first, checking our intentions before we speak. Are we being truthful to help or to vent frustration? Stoicism insists that virtue is found not just in what we say, but in why and how we say it. Practicing honesty with gentleness sharpens wisdom and strengthens relationships. Lies, however small, corrode respect. They create distance, confusion, and mistrust. A Stoic strives to be an upright man, as Marcus Aurelius phrased it, straight in thought, steady in speech, and aligned with principle. When we commit to truth as a way of life, growth becomes inevitable. The people around us learn to trust that our words have weight. They grow because we challenge them with respect. We grow because honesty demands courage and humility. The Stoic path reminds us that truth is not an act of aggression but of compassion, a commitment to reality, which is the only ground on which progress can stand. 3. Tackle conflict respectfully. Conflict is unavoidable, but disrespect is optional. Stoicism doesn't teach us to suppress disagreement. It teaches us to approach it with reason and calm. When tensions rise, our first instinct is often to react emotionally, yet emotion clouds clarity. To be stoic in conflict is to remain grounded, to listen fully before speaking, to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Respectful confrontation is not weakness, it is mastery over the self. First, listen before speaking. When others feel heard, their defenses lower. Many conflicts escalate simply because both sides are more interested in being right than in understanding. The Stoic approach is to seek comprehension before correction. Epictetus advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By listening, we show respect, and respect opens the door to resolution. Second, use calm, direct language. Anger is noise. Reason is signal. When we speak clearly and calmly, our message carries strength. Stoicism values temperance, the art of measured expression. Even in disagreement, we can choose words that heal rather than harm. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally disciplined. Third, focus on solutions, not blame. Pointing fingers keeps us trapped in the past. Stoics look forward, asking, what can be done now? This mindset turns conflict into growth. It shifts the energy from resentment to resolution. When both sides work toward improvement, respect naturally follows. Consider Alex and his friend who were working on a shared creative project. Alex's friend repeatedly missed deadlines, causing frustration. Instead of lashing out or withdrawing, Alex invited him for coffee. He began with appreciation. "I value your creativity and effort." Then he added, "But I need reliability. I can't finish this alone." The conversation was awkward, but honest. His friend admitted his struggles with time management. Together, they set clearer expectations. The result wasn't just better teamwork, it was a stronger friendship, rebuilt on mutual respect. Every conflict carries a choice, to react with pride or to respond with principle. The Stoic path calls us to rise above impulse and aim for virtue. Respectful dialogue requires courage, humility, and patience. It's not about winning, it's about understanding. When we handle disagreement with integrity, we turn friction into trust. Over time, such moments become the quiet markers of our character. Stoicism reminds us that peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the mastery of how we meet it. 4. A manager admired for honest talks. Lisa, a department head at a mid-sized firm, had a reputation that quietly preceded her. People often said she was the kind of leader who told the truth with kindness. It wasn't just a compliment, it was a reflection of how she lived her values every day. Her team knew that if they wanted an honest opinion, Lisa would give it. Not in a harsh or dismissive way, but with the kind of sincerity that made even criticism feel like a gift. She didn't believe in false comfort. She believed in clarity, integrity, and respect, the foundation of real trust. When the company faced an economic downturn, leadership made the difficult decision to downsize. It was a storm that no one wanted to face, and many managers resorted to evasive words or vague statements to soften the blow. But Lisa refused to take that path. She gathered her team in the conference room one morning, her expression calm yet solemn. She didn't bring charts or corporate scripts, just truth. She began by acknowledging how difficult the past few months had been, how hard everyone had worked, and how unfair it might feel that some would have to leave despite giving their best. Her voice was steady, but her words carried genuine emotion. She explained the situation clearly, the reasons for the layoffs, the decisions made by upper management, and what it would mean for each person in the room. Lisa didn't sugarcoat the reality, but she didn't let it become cold either. She gave space for questions, real questions, not the kind that end with a rehearsed, "We can't discuss that." She stayed in the discomfort, choosing empathy over ease. She thanked each person individually, acknowledging their contributions and the unique energy they brought to the team. For those leaving, she offered personal references, helped connect them with industry contacts, and checked in weeks later to see how they were doing. It wasn't just professionalism, it was humanity in leadership form. In the days that followed, her office became a place of quiet reflection. Some team members cried, others simply sat in silence, processing what had happened, yet almost everyone walked away with an unshakable respect for Lisa. Months later, even those who had been laid off sent her messages of gratitude. One wrote, "You made one of the hardest days of my life feel dignified." Another said, "You didn't hide behind buzzwords. You treated us like adults." That was Lisa's legacy. She showed that leadership isn't about comfort or control. It's about truth and compassion coexisting. Lisa's story reveals something that many leaders overlook. Honesty is not cruelty, and empathy is not weakness. To speak truthfully with care is a powerful act of respect. It acknowledges the intelligence and emotional resilience of others. In workplaces and in life, people don't need perfection from leaders. They need trust. And trust is born not from flawless outcomes, but from consistent authenticity. When people remember Lisa, they don't recall the specific words she used that day. They remember the tone of her voice, the steadiness in her eyes, and the sense that she truly saw them. Real leaders don't hide behind polished statements or half-truths. They have the courage to say, "This is what's happening, and I'm here with you in it." That's what earns enduring loyalty and respect, the kind that no title or position alone can command. 5. Have one courageous conversation. Think for a moment about the conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's the one that sits quietly in the back of your mind, whispering reminders every time you see a certain person or revisit a certain situation. Perhaps it's with a friend who's been distant, a colleague whose behavior is affecting your work, or a loved one with whom tension has silently built over time. The longer it lingers, the heavier it grows. Avoidance feels easier, at least for a while, but it often creates invisible walls between us and the people we care about. Courageous conversations are rarely convenient, but they are almost always necessary. The first step is honesty with yourself. Ask, what truth am I afraid to speak? Often, it's not the other person's reaction we fear most, it's our own vulnerability. We fear being misunderstood, rejected, or seen as unkind. But honesty spoken with calm and compassion is not cruelty. It's a form of care, a signal that you value the relationship enough to tell the truth instead of letting silence corrode it. Preparation helps. Before speaking, take a few quiet moments to center yourself. Breathe deeply. Write down what you want to say, not as a script, but as a way to clarify your heart. Focus not on blame, but on understanding. Instead of "you always" or "you never," try "I feel" or "I've noticed." These subtle shifts invite dialogue rather than defense. Remember that the goal isn't to win an argument, it's to uncover truth that can heal or strengthen connection. When you finally speak, do so with the calm strength that comes from sincerity. You don't need to raise your voice or over-explain. Speak simply. Listen deeply. Allow pauses. The most courageous conversations aren't loud. They're grounded in quiet honesty. And when discomfort rises, and it will, stay present. Let your courage outlast your fear. Sometimes the result won't be immediate resolution. The other person may need time to process, or they may not respond as you hoped. That's okay. Courage is not measured by the outcome, but by the act itself. Even if the conversation feels imperfect, speaking truth with integrity is always a step toward freedom. You lighten the invisible burden you've been carrying and open the door for real understanding to emerge. Each time you have one of these conversations, you strengthen your character's foundation. You remind yourself that your voice matters, that honesty, when paired with empathy, is an act of strength. Over time, this habit transforms not just your relationships, but your sense of self. You begin to trust your own integrity more deeply. So here's your challenge. Think of one conversation you've been putting off, one truth that's waiting to be spoken. Write it down. Picture it, feel it. Then, when the moment comes, choose courage over comfort. Speak your truth, not to wound, but to clarify, to bring light where silence has cast shadows. You may tremble, your voice may shake, but speak anyway. Respect isn't demanded or forced. It's earned through the quiet bravery of truth-telling. Every courageous conversation, no matter how small, becomes a ripple of authenticity that shapes your world. Take that first breath, begin the talk. Let honesty and empathy lead the way. You'll find that what you feared losing was never as valuable as the integrity you gain. Respect begins with courage, the courage to speak truth, even when your voice trembles. Remember, silence protects comfort, but honesty builds respect. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Start that one conversation today, and you'll find that real respect begins when you stop running from the truth.